Who do you think wins if Islam and Topuria fight?
It's gonna be tough fight for Ilia, but Ilia have a big chance. Ilia make you either shoot him, he will stop. Ilia will go forward. Islam has to strike with him, and in striking, we all know how Ilia fights and how dangerous he is and how knockout power he has. He can finish Islam Makhachev.
What did you think of all the talk of Ilia moving up to 170 to fight Islam? Did you think that that was going to happen? Do you think that would be smart?
It's gonna be smart for him to move up and make a lot of money. And even if he lose to Islam, people say, oh, you know, he take the chance to fight for the third belt. And can imagine if he beat Islam, he's gonna be legend in this sport. You know, 3 belts. No one done it before. What about if he lose? He comes back and I beat him again, and the UFC got him out. That's the best thing.
So Islam Makhachev, the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world, has narrowly escaped the perils of Ilia Topuria. That is correct. Apparently Islam was scared. He ran away. He didn't want anything to do with this matchup and made up an injury.
Don't be scared, homie.
That is, of course, according to Ilia Topuria. Now, Ilia Topuria has gone on a crazy Twitter rant, okay? He's gone after Islam Makhachev. To be fair, he's been trying to fight him for quite some time, okay? And Topuria wants to be a part of only the biggest matchups. The man's headline
is the Makhachev versus Topuria superfight actually happening? Well, the verbal warfare you just heard from Topuria strongly suggests it's not just a pipe dream anymore. His bold accusations, claiming Islam is scared and run away, are a strategic escalation designed to force the UFC's hand. Topuria is relentlessly pursuing this fight, making these accusations to generate massive hype. This isn't just routine trash talk. It's a clear signal to Dana White and the matchmakers that this is a must-make fight. The question isn't if they'll fight, but when, and Topuria is trying to make it happen sooner rather than later, making these claims a huge hint from the inside.
Once again, Islam comes up with an excuse. This time it's an injury. I always knew that I would be a part of the White House event. Even when the UFC told me at one point that they wouldn't count on me for the event, I knew it was a part of the negotiation. When they finally told me that I would be on the White House card, they mentioned Islam. And I did not hesitate for a single second to accept no man alive is going to deny Islam at the White House event. Anyway, I don't know why that popped in my head. It goes on to say the White House card was going to be announced the next day. And when I woke, I found out that Islam had miraculously gotten injured. And then Justin Gaethje appeared. Once again,
Topuria's detailed account here is incredibly telling. He's laying out a very specific timeline, claiming the UFC themselves offered him Islam Makhachev for the White House card, clearly referencing a major event like UFC 300. This suggests there were active negotiations with the promotion directly involving Islam. The narrative of Islam miraculously getting injured just as the announcement was imminent is designed to cast doubt and paint Islam as avoiding the challenge. If Topuria's version holds any truth, it indicates that Dana White and the matchmakers were indeed trying to put this fight together, making Topuria's current public pressure even more significant. This backstory adds layers to the hint that this fight is on the UFC's radar.
I did think or hear that Ian Garry was going to be the guy. Ian Garry's out in Georgia, as we know, training, I thought, for Islam Makhachev, right? I don't know why Islam Makhachev is not fighting on the White House. That would have been an absolute shoo-in, the perfect fit, one of the biggest stars, add to that fight card, but he's not. And according to Ilia Topuria, it's because he quote-unquote escaped, okay? Now, Islam Makhachev, of course, he's a very proud man. He's not going to let the lightweight champion talk shit like that without coming back. And he says,
this clip perfectly encapsulates the mystery surrounding Islam's absence from the White House card or UFC 300 and Topuria's bold interpretation of it. The speaker highlights how Islam would have been a perfect fit, a huge star for such a historic event. The fact that he wasn't, and Topuria's claims of an escape, feed directly into the narrative of a potential superfight being delayed, not canceled. Dana White is a master at building anticipation, and this kind of will they, won't they scenario, fueled by strong accusations and denials, is precisely how he can generate immense hype for a future showdown. The hint here is the unfulfilled promise of a big fight that will now demand an even bigger stage later down the line.
Ooh, and it's all a case of he said, she said, and we don't know what the real situation is, but I will give my thoughts on it in just a second. Here is Islam's response. He said, "We both know who chickened out here. You can cover your cowardice with nasty tweets, but don't worry, because one day you're going to get what you asked for, and your fat-ass manager don't have to ask for billions to fight me. We'll do it for free." So, first question is, do you really think Islam Makhachev is scared of Ilia Topuria?
Islam's immediate retort here is classic Dagestani pride. He's not just denying Topuria's accusations, he's flipping the script, accusing Topuria of cowardice and promising that a fight will happen. The line about fighting for free is a powerful statement, not to be taken literally, but to emphasize his absolute readiness and disdain for Topuria's perceived disrespect. This isn't just social media banter. This is two champions with immense pride directly challenging each other. When both fighters are this committed to proving a point and are willing to talk this way, it generates an irresistible demand that even Dana White can't ignore, pushing this from a wish list fight to a must-make fight for the UFC. That's a huge hint.
I'm going to say no. I will tell you this. I don't think any of these guys are scared. Fighters don't get scared of fighting other men. Yes, on the night before you make the walk, when you're at the curtain and you're about to go out and they go 3, 2, 1 and your music plays and you walk out, there can be some doubts, there can be some intrepidation, there could be some anxiety from winning and losing. You're not scared to fight, okay? They are born to do that. And Ilia Topuria is amazing. Islam Makhachev is amazing, right? So I don't think Islam was scared. Another question is why are the managers all getting shit on here big time? Listen,
The speaker makes a crucial point about the fighter's mentality. True fear of an opponent isn't really a factor at this elite level. These athletes are built differently. They crave challenges and the biggest stages. So, when Islam says he's not scared and Topuria acts like a hunter, it's not about genuine fear, but about legacy, opportunity, and proving dominance. This inherent drive ensures that when two champions like this are calling each other out, the fight is almost guaranteed. Dana White knows that these are the narratives that sell. The fear narrative is just an appetizer for the inevitable clash of wills and skills that fans desperately want to see. This makes the hints even stronger.
That is Topuria's manager. He even responded on Twitter. He's like, "Whoa, damn bro, I've lost 40 pounds. Why is Ali still calling me fat?" And of course, that's a reference to potentially that not even being Islam who wrote that tweet. That would be his manager, Ali Abdelaziz. So maybe one day, Ali and Malki Kawa, they are two of the biggest managers in the MMA space. Of course, Malki manages a lot of big stars, and so does Ali Abdelaziz. Maybe they jump in the ring. Maybe they box, like Eddie Hearn and Dana White are supposed to. You know what I'm saying?
This manager-on-manager beef adds a fascinating layer to the Makhachev-Topuria saga. The implication that Ali Abdelaziz might be writing Islam's tweets and Malki Kawa's direct response highlights that this isn't just fighter-level animosity, it's a full-blown organizational conflict. When the managers, who are power brokers in their own right, get involved in such a public, personal way, it amplifies the tension significantly. Dana White thrives on these narratives, as it naturally builds more interest and a deeper storyline for the superfight. This isn't just a hint. It's a multifaceted marketing machine already in motion, ensuring that the anticipation for a Makhachev versus Topuria fight reaches fever pitch.
Islam, and I get it. That's what you got to do. You got to chat shit. You got to talk big. You got to try and generate hype to get the biggest fights, because you want to get in, make some money, and get out as fast as possible. Like Conor McGregor said back in the day, right?
Get in, get rich, get out.
And Topuria is doing just that. I mean, look at the run that he is on. By the way, if he knocks out Justin Gaethje at the White House, that respectfully to Justin Gaethje, there's a good chance that that happens, because the punching power is just different.
Topuria is clearly channeling his inner Conor McGregor, understanding that the path to superstardom and massive paydays is paved with bold declarations and generating immense hype. His chat shit, talk big approach isn't just trash talk. It's a strategic blueprint for securing the biggest fights, and the Islam Makhachev challenge is at the very top of that list. For Dana White, this is the ultimate win-win. A fighter who not only performs exceptionally, but also actively builds the narrative for blockbuster events. Topuria's ambition to get in, get rich, get out means he's constantly pushing for the high-stakes matchups. And that's a clear hint that a fight with Islam is high on the UFC's agenda. This is how champions get paid.
And I'm sure he'll come up with a great strategy. But one shot from Ilia Topuria can put you to sleep. Just ask the last few people that he knocked out. Who were they? Well, that would be Justin, if it happens. That would be Charles Oliveira. Absolutely flatlined that guy who looked ridiculous against Max Holloway. Before that, it was Max Holloway, right? Stopped him, made it look kind of easy again. And before that, knocked out Volkanovski, right? The man's punching power is on another level. Can you imagine he knocks out Justin Gaethje?
This compilation of Topuria's knockouts is a stark reminder of the sheer destructive force he possesses. He isn't just winning, he's decisively finishing opponents, often with a single shot. This kind of undeniable power makes him a threat to anyone in the division, including Islam Makhachev. When a fighter has this ability to end a fight at any moment, it generates a level of excitement and unpredictability that Dana White and the UFC crave for their biggest events. Topuria's highlight reel is a direct hint that he's a certified superstar in the making, and a clash with Makhachev would be an absolute fireworks display that the fans and the promotion are desperate to see. The power is undeniable.
Would be the next guy. I know there was a bit of talk and a bit of momentum about Kamaru Usman stepping up. Kamaru Usman is a legend of the sport, and I don't need to tell you about Kamaru Usman. The man's 40 years old. He's on the end of his career, right? Maybe, and he looked really good against Joaquin Buckley last time out. Maybe he has another big fight or two in him, guaranteed, but he doesn't have much left in him. You want people that could potentially take out Islam Makhachev, that can go on and have a long run. Somebody like Ian Garry, that's in his absolute prime and could put together potential.
This segment provides crucial context for why Islam Makhachev might not be immediately jumping at Topuria's challenge. He's looking at welterweight, considering new challenges and potentially a second belt, which for Dana White means more pay-per-view buys. While Topuria is making noise, Islam is clearly seeking a fresh test against a different type of opponent. The speaker's point about finding someone in their prime, like Ian Garry, who could potentially have a generational run, is exactly what the UFC wants for its champions. This isn't Islam avoiding Topuria, but rather strategically mapping out his career for maximum impact and legacy, which also builds more anticipation for the inevitable clash with Topuria.
What a way to bow out, to come back, beat the pound-for-pound guy and say, thank you very much, I've had a hell of a career, cheers. What does that do, though, for the UFC, or for the fans, or for people and the anticipation and the hype going into these fights when no one's the champion, right? So Ian Garry should be the guy. But I tell you what, Islam does sound pissed off. Saying that he'll fight Ilia for free, I'm sure he would. I would love to see what would happen if Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev were in the same room together, okay?
Regardless of the tactical reasons for potential welterweight moves, Islam's declaration of being pissed off and willing to fight Topuria for free reveals the deep personal investment he has in this rivalry. This isn't just a professional challenge, it's become personal. When a champion says he'd fight for free, it's a clear signal to the promotion and the fans that he sees this as more than just a title defense. It's about respect and proving a point. This kind of emotional intensity is pure gold for Dana White. It makes the matchup an absolute must-see, elevating the hint of a fight to a near certainty in the future. Islam is not backing down.
I don't think they would go at one another. I think they carry themselves with a certain level of class and respect that they wouldn't do that. They're not thugs. They're not going to throw down. This isn't going to be like, I don't know, who's going to catch a stray here? Jamal Hill, right? No, not Jamal, because he was with Alex Pereira at the Performance Institute, right? And they didn't get into it, okay? But there has been fighters along the way. Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, people like that. They aren't going to do that. They carry themselves with a lot of class and respect, as I said, and they have a certain regard for themselves. They're not going to roll around in the street when they can get paid millions of dollars, or would they? Because now Topuria
The speaker makes a valid point about the professional decorum of most top-tier fighters. Despite the heated rhetoric, you rarely see them physically clashing outside the octagon. This is exactly what Dana White and the UFC want. Build immense anticipation and animosity, but save the actual violence for the sanctioned fight where millions can be made. Topuria and Makhachev are smart enough to understand that their current war of words is building a massive pay-per-view event. This hint isn't just about the verbal jabs. It's about the strategic marketing that builds towards a blockbuster event where both fighters and the UFC stand to profit immensely. They'll save the fireworks for the cage.
is going next level. He is going fully scorched earth on Islam Makhachev, which is weird because he's got a fight with Justin Gaethje. So Topuria is already trying to set up the next matchup, which I guess is what you should be trying to do, right? You want to have your next opponent in mind. Ilia Topuria, I don't know what he's getting paid for the White House card. I am sure it is a lot of money. But let me ask you, who wins between Justin and Topuria?
This is where Topuria reveals his true strategic brilliance. While many fighters focus solely on their immediate opponent, Topuria is already looking 2 steps ahead, actively campaigning for the biggest possible challenge after Gaethje. Going scorched earth on Islam, even with a major fight scheduled, isn't just bravado. It's a calculated move to build unprecedented hype and demand for the Makhachev fight. He's effectively creating a ready-made narrative for Dana White, making it impossible to deny him that superfight if he gets past Gaethje. This aggressive, forward-thinking approach is a clear hint that Topuria is aiming for superstardom, and the Islam fight is the next logical step in his plan for domination.
And Topuria, though, that's a different kettle of fish. There is weight classes for a reason. And of course, Topuria, he wants to be a 3-weight division champion. Just like Alex Pereira is getting the opportunity to be, right? Alex Pereira, if he beats Cyril Gane, and that's a big if, would be the first ever 3-weight division champ. Granted, one of them would be interim, but regardless, a 3-weight division champion. Would that make him the most successful fighter in UFC history simply because he's got 3 belts?
The discussion around weight classes and Topuria's ambition to be a 3-division champion fundamentally shifts the narrative. This isn't just about a lightweight versus featherweight champion clash. It's about a potential double champ attempting to go even further into uncharted territory. Topuria is looking to etch his name in UFC history alongside legends like Alex Pereira. For Dana White, this kind of audacious goal translates directly into massive pay-per-view events. If Topuria achieves his goal against Gaethje and then sets his sights firmly on Islam, it makes the fight a legacy-defining event for both men, promising a spectacle that transcends normal title fights. A huge hint that the UFC will make this happen sooner rather than later.